My name is Steve Arnold. I'm age 52 and I'm a longtime family friend of Layne. I would say I agree because we being someone in America assassinated a president, whether we agreed with that president's philosophies and actions or not, but we killed a president. And what I remember, I was a little over 3 years old, was that my mom was crying a lot, the TV was on all day, and I remember just instances of what I might have seen on there, just a lot of white. I remember white for whatever reason. Maybe it was the White House or something, but that's what I remember. And since then I've visited John F. Kennedy's grave and I shed a tear, not because of the man himself, but because someone in America decided to kill one of our presidents, and it bothers me today that we would do that. Yeah, we lost trust in the government because they didn't run a war the way it should be run, whether the cause was right or not. We kind of handcuffed our men, not allowing them to win and be protected and all that, and then consequently when they came back, the American people didn't support the soldiers, which was a bad thing to do. Have we won it back? I'd say so. In some of the most recent conflicts, you can see that America's fighting military are without question the best in the world. They are excellent. The American people support them more and fully, I think, whether the cause is right or not. I think the world probably thought that the United States, when they focused on a task, a project, whatever it might be, had the means to accomplish it. And whether that was putting a man on the moon or some other thing, I was watching it live. I was 9 years old in Washington, D.C. And as a young kid, I loved the space program. It was terrific to me, but I was a little awe-inspired by it, and I wanted to go into the space program and all that. But America, as far as the world thinking America could do it, I think they probably thought that we could do anything. The American people probably, again, I was fairly young, lost a lot of trust in the U.S. government. What was it about some recordings or recordings that disappeared? Who knows what was really going on behind the scenes? We still don't know today what really goes on behind the scenes, but maybe losing trust in the American government or not knowing what really goes on back there kind of makes you wonder sometimes. Again, I think a lot of people looked at America and said that we have a lot of power when we speak. It was President Reagan who said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear that wall down." And it got torn down, and there was the unity, the reunification of West and East Germany. And there was probably a sense of hope that maybe we were going to unite and be a little more one in the world. Not a lot of that has happened, but some of it has, giving people a little more hope. I guess that's my thoughts on that. I remember waking up that morning and hearing on the news that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center, and I told my wife Sharon, that that wasn't an accident. Just the first one. I said, that was not an accident. Just something told me that. And when the second one hit, not too many minutes later, I said, this is scary. Something big is happening. It was horrifying. And I think the way America was changed, it was neat to see how everyone across the nation unified, because it was our people, it was our nation that got terrorized by these people. We felt a little bit vulnerable, but we also felt like we are one, and everybody had the little flags on their car driving around. Everybody did. It was just neat to see the unification of that, and that was all that was on our minds for quite a long time. Since then, America's kind of forgotten that, sadly enough, but it took a tragic moment like that to see some unity come together. I've not achieved it yet because I'm still working, but my dream was to retire with enough money to enjoy the rest of my life comfortably. Be that travel, live at peace at home with enough food and shelter to live peacefully. Still have some working years left to try to accomplish that. Wow. I was born on an Air Force base, Norton Air Force Base in San Bernardino area. That base has been closed since then, and not too many years past that, of that I remember nothing, we moved to Nellis Air Force Base in near Las Vegas, Nevada. I remember the big cowboy moving his hand every time we went by him. That's on the strip there. Had some eye surgeries at that hospital. I remember sonic booms a lot. I remember it being very hot and stumping my toe in the road a lot. That hurt. From there we moved to Vandenberg Air Force Base near here, and not too long after that, I was about 8 years old, my dad was instated to go to Vietnam, and he went there for a year. We moved to the Valley to live near my grandmother. After that year, he came out of Vietnam. We moved to Washington, D.C. to Bolling Air Force Base. We were there 4 months, and he was called back to Vietnam again for another year. And those years, between 8 and 10, were very tough to live without a dad. No dad at all. It was very hard as a growing young man, young boy. Again, we moved back to the Valley. After he came back from Vietnam the second time, we moved back to Vandenberg Air Force Base, where we lived on the base property, and grew up there from 5th grade on. So that became a little more stable, because in and out of schools a lot was difficult as a kid. But Vandenberg had a lot of places, being the 3rd largest base in the world, to explore. We explored a lot in that base. It was just fabulous. It was a neat place to live, still a neat place to go to. They have some beautiful shoreline, missile silos, some secret places. We actually crawled under a fence once and looked back, and there was a sign that says, "You're going to get shot if you're caught on this side of the fence." And we said, uh-oh. We got back on the other side real quickly. We used to go out in the fields and find lots of ordnance, unexploded, and this is where they used to have military drills. That was kind of creepy, you know, if I look back on it now. But as a kid, it was fun to find bullets and things like that, parts of hand grenades and mortars, all throughout the fields out there. That was really neat. But that's what it was like. That's the last base we were on, and being in the military life was a good life, but it also had its challenges.
I remember not much, but I do remember my mom being upset and calling like my dad to make sure everything was okay and my grandparents. But that's pretty much all I remember. My favorite unit from this history class would have to be World War II. There's not really a specific reason why. I've just always been drawn to World War II. It's really interesting to me. My American dream is basically being able to choose the lifestyle that I want and the career path that I choose to have, and not having everything laid out, like set for me before I get there.